Make your transition. There will come a time in your life when you will ask yourself a series of questions. Do not let these questions restrain or trouble you. Just point yourself in the direction of your dreams and make your transition. There will come a time in your life when you will ask yourself a series of questions. Do not let these questions restrain or trouble you. Just point yourself in the direction of your dreams and make your transition. Transition.
And thank you, Nick. So, lot 49 is the Fontana. And this Fontana has been in the same collection since 1989. So that's a really long time, also a very special year. But that doesn't matter. Starting, and the bidding here at 650, 700,000, 750 now. 750,000. Catherine has it at 800,000.
Hong Kong bidding.
Oh, 850.
Hong Kong at $850.
900.
And 900,000. Catherine takes it back.
Bidding Hong Kong.
And 950. What do you say, Catherine?
1 million, please.
And 1 million ahead of you all in Hong Kong. 1 million pounds. Now it's your turn, Julie.
Bidding.
In Hong Kong at 1-1. All in different places in Hong Kong, but it's still with you at 1,100,000.
1,150,000, please.
1,150,000. $1,150,000 in Hong Kong. Julie at 1-2. It's now in Hong Kong. Do you wish to bid 1-2?
1-2.
And 1-2 now ahead of you. In Hong Kong now at 1.2 million. Julie, if you want to bid, please let me know. 1,250,000. Please use your microphone, Julie. It's here in London with Julie at 1,250,000. Hong Kong next will be 1-3. That's a no. And Catherine is out. Yes, still with you, Julie, at 1,250,000. We're all done. Also, am I right? Last chance, everybody. Sold. Pedal 884. 1,250,000. We continue with lot number 50, which is Andy Warhol titled Dollar Sign. And I can start start here, ladies and gentlemen, with some interest here in the book. So let's open this lot at 240, 260, 280, and 300,000 now. All here in the book at
300.
320. Michelle, I saw you first, and you're dancing, so that helps. 320,000.
350.
350. 350 with Giovanna. Who will give me 380? No? Giovanna, still with you at 350,000. You were all very eager in the beginning. Thank you, New York. Thank you, Hong Kong. Selling here in London for 350,000. My arm is up. And last chance. Sold.
Buon lavoro. Thank
Giovanna,
you.
your pedal, please. Perfect. 840. Lot 51 will be next. Before we start, please note that the new estimate is 450,000 to 650,000. So please note, we're talking about Roy, Liechtenstein, Cup and Saucer 2. Let's start here at 320, 350, and 380 now.
Bidding in New York at 400, please.
400,000 is accepted. Thank you, New York.
Bidding in New York, 420.
At 420 now.
Bidding in Hong Kong.
At 450 in Hong Kong.
Bidding in New York.
And back in New York at 480.
Bidding in Hong Kong.
Thank you very much, Hong Kong. £500,000. And
Bidding in New York, please.
520 is here in London.
550 in New York.
550 New York, absolutely. Lovely to see you, New York. 550.
Bidding in New York, 580. Can we try
580.
550? 580, sorry, 580. Bidding in Hong Kong.
600 in New York, please.
600 in New York now, all from different places. Highest bidder is in New York at £600,000. And 620. Andre takes it back. Not yours in Hong Kong and not yours.
650 in New York, please.
Bidding in Hong Kong.
620 is here. 650. Who will take
650 in New York,
650?
please. 650 in New York, please.
Absolutely. New York, you have it at 650. Hong Kong, you're next. And 680.
680.
It's against you, Hong Kong. It's here with Andre at 680.
Bidding in New York, 700.
700,000 now, back in New York. $720. It's in London. It's against you, Hong Kong. It's against you
Bidding
in New York. 750 in New York. Shall we try 800, Andre?
Bidding in Hong Kong.
780. It's here in London. It's against you, Hong Kong. Do you want to try 800,000?
Bidding in Hong Kong.
Thank you, Hong Kong. You have it. £800,000. With Jessica. Jasmina.
820.
820. It's in London. It's with Andre against you all at 820,000. Who will give me 850? Holding now here in London, 850 will be next. Are you out New York and Hong Kong?
850, please.
And 850 in New York. $880. New York, Hong Kong, make it 900,000. I say this with my open arms. At 880 now. Andre's client. You're out? Thank you ever so much. The gavel is up at 880,000. Last chance.
Madam, one moment. Madam, one moment, please.
Absolutely, I will give
Bidding
you a
in Hong
moment.
Kong. Bidding in Hong Kong.
900,000. In Hong Kong, absolutely. Jasmine, you have it at £900,000. Andre, what do you say? That's very firm and very clear. 900,000.
920, please, madam, in New York. 920, please.
920. I believe this is Maria at 920. Hong Kong next is £950,000. Do you wish to bid? No? Fair enough. 920 then. Andre is out. Hong Kong is out. Selling to New York. If there's no further advance. Sold. 920. Could I please see your pedal? 1426. 1426 is the same thing, 920,000. And we continue with lot number 52. It's the Anish Kapoor. The title is Monochrome. Let's open the bidding here at 320, 350, 380,000. Holding here at 380. Looking for 400,000.
400, please.
Thank you, Tessa Lord, at 400,000. It's a selling bid here on my left at £400,000. Looking for 420. That's a no from Michelle at 400,000 then. Fair warning, everybody, at 400,000. Perfect. Pedal 921 at 400,000. Thank you very much, Tessa. Lot 53, shown here on the screen. And please bear with me because I've got a couple of announcements for you. Please note that the medium for this work is blue ballpoint on paper laid down on board and not as stated in the printed catalogue. Also, please note that this work is registered in the Archivio Boetti, Rome, under the number 2287 and is accompanied by a certificate of authenticity. So that is the Boetti, ladies and gentlemen, starting the bidding here at 110, 120, 130.
150, please.
And 150 already. And 160, 170.
180, please.
And 180. Who will give me 190?
190 in New York,
190. Alessandro is quicker.
100,
190.
please.
200,000. Giovanna at 200,000 pounds.
220 in New York, please.
220 in New York. Sarah has it in New York at 220,000. Alessandro, 240? You make me smile, Giovanna, but no bids.
Bidding Hong Kong.
Bidding 240 in Hong Kong. It's against you, Alessandro, at 240 now in Hong Kong. $260 will be next, New York, if you want to. Thank you ever so much. Are you thinking? No? 240 then in Hong Kong, and I can sell, but I will wait for you. Tell me, Alessandro, yes or no? No. 240,000. Selling to Hong Kong. Last chance to you all. Sold. To pedal 8823. 240,000. The next work we will offer is lot 54, 2 meters high, and the title is 3 Wings of Light by Heinz Mack. Let's start here at 1995, 100,000. Who will give me 110? 110. Isabel has it at 110,000. Nick is out. It's on the phone with Isabel at 110. Oh, you were all so eager, and now you're gone. 110. You're hanging up the phones at 110. Are you very sure? Christie's Live, I haven't seen you for a while. Selling the Boetti for 110. The Mac, pardon, that's my mistake. The Mac for 110,000 pounds. Sold. 2 pedal 845. Moving on with the Gormley. This lot has been in the same private collection since 2006. I hope you can see it on the screen. Magnificent work. Let's open the bidding here at 200, 220, and 240. Holding here at 240, 250, Veronica. 260, Julie? 260. It's just ahead of you. Julie has it at 260. Make it 280. Shall we try 280, please? Because it's nearly my final lot. 270. 270. Julie, do you want to come back? That's a no? 270,000. 280. Thank you so much. 280. We got there. Doesn't matter. Thank you for your bid. 280,000. Veronica, maybe now is your chance. Not with Veronica and not with you and Christie's Live. Hong Kong and New York, please speak to me if you wish. Otherwise, I'm selling at 280,000 pounds. Sold to Julie with pedal 897. 280,000. So finishing my part of the sale with this amazing Glen Brown. The title is Petrushka. Opening the bidding here at 120, 130 and 140. At 140,000. Do I see 150? At 140,000. Don't do this to me, Keith. At 140. Very sure. Against you all at 140. Last chance. At 140. That's a pass at 140. Thank you very much, Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the 20th Century Evening Sale. For me, it's time to say goodbye. And good night to all of our amazing colleagues in Hong Kong. I will wave to you. But please stay with us for another moment, because the best is yet to come. UC will return in a moment to the rostrum for the Art of the Surreal sale, headlined by an amazing masterpiece. And thank you, Nick. So, lot 49 is the Fontana. And this Fontana has been in the same collection since 1989. So that's a really long time, also a very special year. But that doesn't matter. Starting, and the bidding here at 650, 700,000, 750 now. If you want to. Thank you ever so much. Are you thinking? No? 240 then in Hong Kong, and I can sell, but I will wait.
Great, welcome back everybody. Here we are, the Man Ray 101, Famo Yeux Bessé of 1937, beautiful drawing. And where do we start this? We start this at 18, 20, 22, 24. Do I have 26 somewhere? 26 with Andre. Andre has 26. California come in, 28 in California, welcome. California has it then at 28,000 at the moment. 28,000 to our Californian buyer. 28. 28,000 to the USA. Thank you for joining us. America has it on Christie's Live in California at 28,000. 30 here to London. Against you in California. Back to California at 32. Thank you very much. California has it then, the Man Ray. Beautiful drawing. 35 is bid. Many places, but 35 I'm taking here. 38 back to California. Against you both here in London. 40,000 in London, I'm afraid. 42 perhaps? Yes, 42. There it is. Up goes the hand in California. Thank you so much. 42 to California.
45, sir.
45 to Michelle McMullen, my Scottish colleague on the right here. 48 to America. $48,000. California has it. Scotland is out. And are you coming in Italy? Italy has it at 50 now. 50,000 to my Italian colleague at 50,000. 50,000 is the bid. Against you in America, I'm afraid. Here in a new place, 55, back to America. I have it against both of you, 55 in California. It's live in America. 60 in London. $65 here in London once again. The ladies' bid at 65. $70, new place with Edmond. Ahead of you, Olivier. You have to be a bit quicker. Belgium's a bit slow today. France jumps in at 70. Well done, France. 70 with the French bidder. At 70,000 against you in California, against our American buyer. Pardon? 75? 70 is bid. Would you like 75, Sandra? 75? 80 I have. Very quickly in with Olivier at 80,000 against you, Edmond. Against you in California, I'm afraid. Thank you for your bids earlier. Do come back in. 85 still going here with the French bidder at 85. Jay, you're coming in? 85 against you here on the right, Jay. 85 with Edmond. 85. All done. Last chance. The gavel's up. 90. 90,000. 95,000. Still going on. Imogen, you coming in? No, not this one. 95 then with Edmond. Give you 100, or I'm selling it at 95,000. Last chance, Olivier. 5432, 98, I'll take it. 98,000 with Olivier. 98,000 with Olivier's bidder. Here it is. Olivier's bidder, 100,000. It's rounded up to 100 by Edmond. Edmond Francais has it at 100,000. Michel, are you out? You sure? Not yours then at 100,000, Olivier. Last chance. Fair warning, and selling here at 100,000. 105 is next, and I'm selling it. There it is, 105. Let's get going here a bit. 105. 105. 110. Olivier, 120. 110 I have. 110 I have, and I'm selling. Hold on, last chance. Sold. 110. 972 is the number. Very good. So lot number 2, 102 is the first of Magritte. This is the Grand Marais of 1946. And 550, 580, 600. That's 600,000, 620 against you in America.
650.
There it is, Max Carter at 650. Max, you have it at 650,000 in New York. New York has it no longer. I have 700 here in London. Who will give me 750? 7 I have here. 750 is next. 700,000, yours it is. That's 7. Max, give me 750. You sure? Thank you for the earlier bid at 650. 700 is here, 750 is next. Who's coming in at 750,000? Sandra has it at 700,000, all done. 750, just in time. 8 is next. 750 with Edmond. 800, see? 800, thank you, Sandra. 800,000 is the bid. 800th guy, are you coming in? 850 to Edmond, against you at 800, against you both here. 800,000 is the bid. 850 is the bid. The Magritte now at 850, the 1946 piece at £850,000. 850. One more. 850 is here, it's not yours, Edmond. 850 Edmond. 900 will be here, Sandra. $900. To be absolutely clear, Sandra has it at 900, Edmond, it is not yours. 850, 950 is yours now. 950, back to Edmond. 1 million. £1 million for the Magritte at 1 million and selling. And 50. We'll go in 50s, fair enough. At 1,050,000, 1,000,001 will be next. 1,050,000 is bid. 1,050,000 and selling. 1,000,001. 1,000,001 and selling. The bid is 1,000,001. 1,000,001 and selling. And 50. Have to hurry. 1,000,001 is the bid. And 1,2 is the bid. Excellent. Give me 1,3. 1,2 is the bid. At 1,200,000 for the first of the Magrittes tonight. 1,200,000 is the bid. 1,200,000. 1,300,000 is the bid. 1,300,000. Sandra at 1,300,000. The first of the Magrittes at 1,300,000 against you, Edmond. 1,400,000 will be next. 1,300,000 is here and selling. And 50 will take. 1,350,000. 1,350,000. 1,400,000 could take it. 1,350,000 to Edmond. 1,350,000. Here it is, the Magritte at 1,350,000. 1,400,000 up goes the hand. 1,400,000. 1,400,000 is the bid. At 1,400,000. Looking to the room. Are you coming in? And 50. 1,450,000 now against you in New York. At 1,450,000. 1,500,000 is the bid. At 1,500,000. 1,500,000. At 1,500,000. 1,500,000. All okay, Jason? 1,500,000 and 50. Still going on. At 1,550,000 for the first of the Magrittes. 1,600,000. Still going. At 1,600,000 then. With Sandra at 1,600,000. All done. Last chance. Edwin, 1,600,000. And you're out. Thank you so much. At 1,600,000. Here it is, Sandra. You have it at 1,600,000. 967 at £1,600,000. So we move to the Picabia, superb thing of 1913, the lot 103, Danseuse Étoile, sur un transatlantique. And we start the bidding here at 550, 600. At 600,000, looking for 650. 650 is there with Guy at 650,000, 700,000 now. £700,000, 750,000 now with Guy. At 750 for this important drawing. At 750, 800,000 with Giovanna. Giovanna has it at 800,000. Come back in. At 800,000, not yours. At 800,000 is the bid. With Giovanna, 800,000 for the Picabia of 1913. 800,000 is the bid. Giovanna has it. 800,000. Looking to you, Olivier. 820 I'll take. Giovanna, 820 I have.
Bidding.
850 I have. $850 I have. $870. Guy Agazera, new to the sale room, doesn't know the increments. 900. Would you like 920, Guy? 950? I thought you said 50 for a moment. 920. 920. I took it here, 950. 980 is next, please, Guy. They're still in many places. You heard it, 1 million. Giovanna jumps in. Well done, Giovanna. Going out globally at 1 million. Giovanna Bertazzoni. 1.1 now, gentlemen. Giovanna has it at 1 million. Wonderful drawing. At 1 million, the Picabia, 1913, is selling at £1 million. The gavel's up. With the hammer. It was with the hammer. You heard the shout. And sorry, what was the number? 1,020,000. I'll pause. I'll pause. It was definitely with the hammer. You heard the shout. Giovanna, are you 100%? Just so that you're 100% sure. At 1,020,000, all done. Last chance. Fair warning, all done. 976 is the number. With you, Guy, and thank you very much, Giovanna, and I'm sorry that the bid came in at the very last moment there, but clearly with the hammer. 104, La Taparicie de Penopole, and I start the bidding here at 400, 420, 450 already, 480 already, at 480,000, 480, 480, looking for 500 this time. Back to you, Giovanna, this time. Let's hope you get this one. At 500,000.
550, please, in New York, 550.
550, is that Sarah? You're very good.
Hi,
Sarah, you
Lucy.
have it at 550. Thank you so much. 600 is here, Sarah.
650, please.
650 back to Sarah Friedlander.
700.
700 with Giovanna.
750.
And 50 back to Sarah Friedlander. Back to New York at 750 at Rockefeller Center. 750 and holding with you, Sarah. Holding with Sarah's bidder at Rock Center at 750. You have it at the moment, Sarah. It's with you at 750. Giovanna, give me a signal. Anybody else coming in now? Sian, you were interested in this earlier, perhaps? At 750, not yours? Shake of the head. Sian is out too. Giovanna is out. Sarah, you have it at Rock Center. Over to you at 750. Yours it is. Your number,
Thank you,
Sarah?
Lucy. 1338.
1338. Well done. And so we move to lot 105, the superb Max Ernst. So here it is, the wonderful Max Ernst, the first of three major works from the collection of Claude Hersin. This is the 1927 Cage Forêt et Soleil Noir. No, I don't actually. Just let me have a quick look at that. This is what I have here.
Okay. 1.9, I think, yeah. Yeah, okay. I think it's 1.9.
1 second, ladies and gentlemen, whilst we just reorganize ourselves for a moment. On the Ernst, this is the 1927 Cage Forêt et Soleil Noir. Here it is. Say again? Thank you so much. Very good. Here it is. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. We can continue. Lot 105. This is the Max Ernst, the first of the wonderful works from the collection of Claude Hersin, the celebrated collector. And we start the bidding here. 1,600,000, 1,700,000, 1,800,000 already. Looking for 1.9. 1.9 is for Sandra. 2 million is with Olivier at 2 million. 2 million to Olivier's bidder at 2 million for the 27 Ernst at 2 million pounds for the 1927 Forêt at 2 million pounds. Alex, looking at you now at 2 million pounds. Anybody else jumping in now for the first of the Hersin pieces? Monumental Ernst at 2 million and selling. The paddle is up. Olivier is wanting me to knock it down. Who else would like to come in at 2 million? Sandra, one more? And Imogen, would you like to come in? 2 million. Yes, I'll take 2 million and 50 just to compete with Olivier. 2 million, 2 his bid. Would you like 2-3? Major painting, 1927 at 2 million 2 at 2,200,000. Either of you, Amy, would you like to come in? 2,200,000 with Monsieur Camus. Maître Camus at 2 million 2 is the bid. Imogen, would you like 2-3? Yes, of course, 2,250,000. 2 million 3? 2 million 3, back to Olivier. 2,300,000. 2,300,000 is the bid for the wonderful Ernst at 2,300,000. And 50. Grazie. 2,350,000. Imogen, 2-4. Imogen, are you coming in? No? 2,000,004. 2,400,000 is the bid and it's selling. Would you like 50? Of course, 50,000. 2,450,000 now. 2-5, straight back with Olivier at 2,000,005. And 50? Yes, thank you so much. 2,550,000, a steady march, but a great painting. 2,550,000. Rare object, museum piece. 2,550 is the bid, Olivier. I'm selling against you, I'm afraid, at 2,550,000. Give me one more. And you're out. 981 is the number. Well done. 981. Super painting. So we move to the peinture of 1925. And this is the Miro with some extra exhibition history, which is available to the buyer. This major work from 1925 on the grand scale. Striking painting. And we start the bidding here at 7,500,000, 7,800,000, 8 million already. 8,200,000 back to Monsieur Camus at 8,200,000. Am I offered 8,500,000 at 8,200,000? 8,200,000 at 8,200,000. 8,500,000 now at 8,500,000. 8,700,000? Yes, all right. 8,700,000 is the bid at 8,700,000. 8,700,000. Would you like 9? 8,700,000 I have. 9 would be next. At 8,700,000. Connor, would you? Why not? It's because Olivier split the bid in rather a peculiar way. So you have the, yes, 8,800,000. You now have to give me 9, Olivier. We'll get back to sort of regular increments. At 8,800,000. Here it is at 8,800,000. Would somebody else like to come in? Connor and Alex on the phone in the States. Would you like to jump in? Alex, would you like 9 million? Or Connor? It's hovering at 8,800,000. Olivier's out. Here it is at 8,800,000. 8,800,000 is the bid on my right. And selling at 8,800,000. Anybody else now? You're not, that's a mistake, is it? I beg your pardon, Olivier? It's back to you at 8,700,000, okay? At 8,700,000 with Olivier. So now is your chance. If somebody would like to bid 8,800,000, they can have it. So I'm going to pause for a long time to see if I can get a bid against you. At 8,700,000, you're definitely out, okay? At 8,700,000, please be clear. At 8,700,000, here it is with Olivier's bidder. Alex, last chance in America, and Connor on the phones there. You're definitely out. Here it is at 8,700,000. Sold at 8,700,000, 978. Or 979, I think it was actually, wasn't it? Olivier, could I see your number again? Yes, 979. Do call it. It's easier for me. 979. Great. Thank you so much. So now we move to Le Mois des Vendages. Here it is showing behind me on my left-hand side the superb Mois de Vendage of 1959. And where shall I open this? And here it is, the Mois de Vendage, and I could start the bidding here at 7,500,000, ladies and gentlemen. 7,500,000, 7,500,000, 7,800,000, at 7,800,000. Would you like 8 million? At 8 million, at 8,200,000 now. At 8,200,000. Against you on the phones at 8,200,000. Not yours, Olivier, at 8,200,000. 8,200,000. At 8,200,000. 8,200,000. Olivier, give me one more. 8,500,000 is your bid. At 8,500,000 with this Olivier's buyer. At 8,500,000. Who will give me 8,800,000? 8,500,000 is here on my left with Olivier Camus and selling at 8,500,000. 8,500,000. Connor, are you coming in? 8,500,000. All done. Last chance for the Magritte at 8,500,000.
Witajcie ciekawscy. miejsce. Banksy jest obecnie jednym z najbardziej znanych nazwisk w świecie sztuki. Jego uliczne prace pojawiły się w niemal każdym zakątku globu, a obrazy sprzedały w domach aukcyjnych za setki tysięcy funtów. Mimo że ten brytyjski artysta graffiti jest tak sławny, wciąż pozostaje anonimowy i trzyma swoją tożsamość w tajemnicy. Od lat jego fani zadają sobie pytanie, kim jest Banksy? Jak wygląda człowiek, który stworzył dziewczynkę z balonikiem czy szpiegowską budkę telefoniczną? Jakie szalone teorie pojawiły się na ten temat? Co właściwie wiemy o artyście i w jaki sposób stał się ikoną współczesnej popkultury? Zostańcie z nami do samego końca, aby poznać odpowiedzi na te i inne pytania, ale zanim zaczniemy, nie zapomnijcie o kliknięciu suba i włączeniu powiadomień. Gotowe? No to startujemy. W latach 80. dzielnica Barton Hill w Bristolu była dość nieprzyjazną częścią miasta. Zamieszkiwała ją wrogo nastawiona wobec obcych klasa robotnicza, zaniedbane budynki odstraszały swoim wyglądem, dlatego mało kto decydował się tam zapuścić, chociaż nie brakowało śmiałków. Wśród nich był młody chłopak z Yate, który wraz z grupą znajomych graficiarzy zdecydował się tam wybrać na swój pierwszy wypad. Rysując na ścianie już wtedy wypróbowywał różne nazwiska. Najczęściej podpisywał się jako Robin Banks, co później przekształciło się w Banksiego. Ten skrócony pseudonim szybko się przyjął, gdyż łatwo zapadał w pamięć i był łatwiejszy oraz szybszy do napisania na ścianie. W tamtych czasach powstał też jego charakterystyczny styl, czyli tworzenie graffiti przy pomocy szablonów, a pomysł na niego narodził się, gdy Banksy ukrywał się pod kołami pociągu. Kiedy chłopak miał 18 lat, wraz z kolegami często malował po pociągach, a podczas jednej z wielu takich akcji pojawiła się brytyjska policja transportowa. Prawie wszystkim z bandy udało się wymknąć stróżom prawa, dotrzeć do samochodu i odjechać. Niestety nie było wśród nich naszego bohatera, który za późno spostrzegł, co się dzieje. Dlatego zamiast uciekać, zdecydował się na ukrycie pod jednym z wagonów. Przez ponad godzinę leżał tam w kałuży wyciekającego oleju silnikowego. Wokół niego po torach biegali funkcjonariusze, a on poważnie zastanawiał się, czy nielegalne malowanie jest tego wszystkiego warte. Po chwili jednak doszedł do wniosku, że raczej musi znaleźć sposób, aby poważnie skrócić czas tworzenia graffiti. A ponieważ przed jego oczami znajdowała się stworzona za pomocą szablonu tabliczka z numerem pociągu, wpadł na pomysł, aby skopiować ten styl. Był to początek jego szablonowego podejścia do rysunków na ścianie. Kilka lat później jeden z przyjaciół, pisarz Tristan Manco, w wywiadzie wyznał, że gdy Banksy wyciągnął swój pierwszy szablon, od razu poczuł jego moc, a z jego ust wpadło wtedy zdanie, cytujemy: wszystkie graffiti są na niskim poziomie, ale szablony mają dodatkową historię. Mogą być wykorzystywane do wywoływania rewolucji i zatrzymania wojen. I jak powiedział, tak się stało, gdyż na swoich późniejszych pracach nieraz wysyłał polityczne przesłania i poruszał ważne problemy, takie jak korupcja czy nierówność w społeczeństwie. Jego rysunki bywały buntownicze, kontrowersyjne, choć nie brakowało też w nich dawki humoru. Po raz pierwszy zyskał rozgłos na początku lat 90. jako artysta graffiti w grupie Dry Bread Z Crew. Jednak prawdziwy przełom przyszedł w 1999 roku, kiedy wyjechał do Londynu. Jego sztuka zagościła w wielu słynnych miejscówkach tego miasta i była porównywana do prac najsłynniejszych przedstawicieli street artu. Popularność Banksiego rosła z dnia na dzień, a przyczyniła się do tego również pewna istotna kwestia. Artysta tworzył bowiem swoje dzieła pod osłoną nocy i wciąż pozostawał anonimowy, a to intrygowało wszystkich najbardziej. Na ten temat nieco więcej powiemy Wam już za chwilę, ale wracając do jego dzieł, musimy zaznaczyć, że nie pojawiały się one tylko w Wielkiej Brytanii. Praca Banksiego zaprowadziła go też do Paryża, Nowego Jorku, Betlejem, Barcelony, Wiednia i wielu innych miast na świecie. Z czasem przeszedł od graffiti na ścianach miejskich do malowania na płótnie, tworzenia rzeźb, a nawet filmu. A tu mówimy o nominowanym do Oscara dokumencie pod tytułem Wyjście przez sklep z pamiątkami. Podczas 3 dekad przypisano mu niemal 120 dzieł i my opowiemy o tych najbardziej znanych. Najwcześniejszym muralem na dużą skalę był ten Mild West, namalowany przy ulicy Stokes Croft w Bristolu. Przedstawia pluszowego misia rzucającego w policjantów koktajlem Mołotowa i przez lokalną społeczność już dawno został uznany za symbol tej dzielnicy. Najsłynniejszym dziełem artysty jest natomiast graffiti o nazwie Zawsze jest nadzieja, który można oglądać na ścianie South Bank w Londynie. Ciekawostką jest to, że na jego wzór Banksy stworzył obraz na płótnie zatytułowany Dziewczynka z balonem. Sprzedano go na aukcji w Londynie za oszałamiającą kwotę 1 000 000 funtów. Po czym na oczach zszokowanej publiczności został on pocięty na cienkie paski przez niszczarkę ukrytą w ramię, co wcale nie oznacza, że w ten sposób dzieło stało się bezwartościowe. Wręcz odwrotnie, jego wartość w tamtym momencie wzrosła nawet o 50%. Ten obraz nie jest jednak najdroższym dziełem artysty. To miano należy do Devolve Parliament, ogromnego malowidła, na którym brytyjscy politycy debatujący w Izbie Gmin zostali zastąpieni szympansami. Praca trafiła pod młotek w 2019 roku i została sprzedana prywatnemu kolekcjonerowi za niemal 10 milionów funtów. W temacie najsłynniejszych rysunków koniecznie musimy też wspomnieć o tych, które nawiązywały do aktualnych w danym czasie wydarzeń. I tak w 2014 roku w Cheltenham powstało graffiti Szpiegowska budka, które odnosiło się do ujawnionych przez byłego agenta CIA Edwarda Snowdena
informacji na temat technik inwigilacji stosowanych przez agencje wywiadowcze. W 2017 po decyzji Wielkiej Brytanii o opuszczeniu Unii Europejskiej w Dover pojawiło się olbrzymie graffiti z robotnikiem usuwającym jedną ze złotych gwiazd na fladze wspólnoty. Przed Igrzyskami Olimpijskimi w Londynie powstała seria prac, na których można było zobaczyć m.in. sportowca rzucającego pociskiem rakietowym zamiast oszczepem, czy skoczka o tyczce przeskakującego nad drutem kolczastym. W 2020 w szpitalu Southampton General w Hampshire Banksy stworzył dzieło Game Changer z małym chłopcem bawiącym się zabawkową pielęgniarką przedstawioną jako superbohater. Był to sposób na podziękowanie służbie zdrowia za ich pracę. W tym samym roku w londyńskim metrze artysta zachęcał do noszenia maseczek na twarzy przy pomocy rysunków szczurów, a podsumowując ten naznaczony pandemią okres w grudniu 2020 stworzył swoje kolejne dzieło, czyli Kichającą kobietę. W swojej karierze brytyjski artysta także nieraz podejmował kontrowersyjne tematy. Rysował graffiti nawiązujące do szokującego traktowania więźniów w Guantanamo Bay. Jednym z najbardziej wstrząsających motywów był obraz myszki Mickey i Ronalda McDonalda wesoło skaczących obok dziewczynki, którą pierwotnie można było oglądać na zdjęciu w 1972 roku z wojny w Wietnamie. W 2003 w Jerozolimie na murze, który oddziela Izrael od Palestyny, powstał zamaskowany bandyta, który rzuca bukietem kwiatów zamiast koktajlem Mołotowa. W tamtych rejonach nieco później powstała cała seria obrazów, takich jak drabina sięgająca samego szczytu muru, czy dziecko, które zabawkową łopatką wykopywało w nim dziurę. Jednak najmocniejszym komentarzem Banksy'ego odnośnie izraelsko-palestyńskiego konfliktu jest otwarty w Betlejem hotel z najbrzydszym widokiem z okien na świecie. Można z nich oglądać wyłącznie wspomniany mur graniczny oddzielający dwa zwaśnione kraje. Choć warto zaznaczyć, że w środku tej placówki wystrój utrzymany jest w dość eleganckim stylu, na ścianach nie brakuje obrazów artysty. Zresztą dzieła Banksy'ego już wcześniej można było oglądać w równie szokujących projektach, czego przykładem był Disneyland, czyli ponury park rozrywki wzorowany na Disneylandzie, otwarty w angielskiej miejscowości Weston-super-Mare. Jednak wystawą, która przyniosła mu zdecydowanie największy rozgłos, była ta zorganizowana w 2003 roku. Nosiła nazwę Turf War i odbiła się ogromnym echem na całym świecie, a wszystko przez to, że można było na niej oglądać m.in. świnie pokryte politycznymi barwami, krowę z twarzą Andy'ego Warhola czy królową Elżbietę w przebraniu szympansa. Pracę Banksy'ego z pewnością można zaliczyć do wyjątkowych, zresztą również za ich sprawą wartość rynkowa samego artysty jest szacowana obecnie na około $50 milionów. Choć wielu ludzi uznaje je za niezwykłą sztukę, nie brakuje też tych, którzy nie popierają tego, co robi. Szczególne kontrowersje budzi graffiti i niektóre z tych rysunków były zamalowywane zaraz po tym, jak pojawiały się lub niszczone po pewnym czasie. Przykładem tego jest wspomniana wcześniej szpiegowska budka telefoniczna. Obrazy artysty nieraz były traktowane jako wandalizm, dlatego na przykład zamaskowane szczury z londyńskiego metra zniknęły równie szybko, jak się pojawiły, a zostały usunięte przez ekipę sprzątającą. Wciąż trwa debata nad tym, czy dzieła Banksy'ego powinny być chronione jako sztuka, szczególnie, że inni artyści zajmujący się graffiti są ścigani, a czasem nawet trafią do aresztu za robienie tego samego co on. Bez wątpienia to balansowanie na granicy prawa stało się też przyczyną podjętej przez artystę już w latach 90. decyzji o pozostaniu anonimowym. Do tej pory nikt nie wie, jak wygląda Banksy, a on też unika wszelkich sytuacji, w których musiałby odsłonić swoją twarz. Czy wiedzieliście na przykład, że ostatniego wywiadu udzielił w 2003 roku i nawet wtedy było widać jedynie jego oczy i czoło? Gdy w 2010 znalazł się na liście 100 najbardziej wpływowych ludzi świata wybranych przez magazyn Time, dostarczył swoje zdjęcie, ale miał na nim założoną papierową torbę na głowie. Ponoć są fani Banksy'ego, którzy tak naprawdę nie chcą wiedzieć, jak wygląda ich idol, ale znaczna większość wciąż doszukuje się wyjaśnienia tej zagadki. Na ten temat powstało mnóstwo teorii, nawet tych najbardziej szalonych, o czym zresztą zaraz wam powiemy. Ta najpopularniejsza głosi, że anonimowy graficiarz to tak naprawdę uliczny artysta o nazwisku Robin Cunningham. Wyobraźcie sobie, że twórcami tej teorii są kryminolodzy z londyńskiego Uniwersytetu Królowej Marii. Do jej opracowania wykorzystali profile geograficzne tak, aby dopasować lokalizację dzieł Banksy'ego do miejsc, w których pojawiał się też Cunningham. Kolejna teoria powstała za sprawą dziennikarza Craiga Williamsa, a ten twierdził, że ma niepodważalne dowody na to, że Banksy to Robert Del Naya, czyli frontman zespołu Massive Attack. Wokalista jednak bardzo szybko zdementował te plotki. Kolejne tezy głosiły, że może nim być francuski artysta Terry Guetta, który zagrał w filmie dokumentalnym Wyjście przez sklep z pamiątkami, lub też uliczny rysownik z Melbourne w Australii. Wśród teorii nie zabrakło też takich, że Banksy to nie jedna osoba, a grupa ludzi, albo mówiące o tym, że jest on kobietą. Na razie żadna z nich nie została potwierdzona i ciężko stwierdzić, czy w ogóle kiedykolwiek dowiemy się, jak w rzeczywistości wygląda Banksy. Choć z drugiej strony artysta nieraz już zaskakiwał, więc właściwie wszystkiego można się po nim spodziewać. A wy ciekawscy chcielibyście poznać prawdziwe oblicze tego najsłynniejszego graficiarza na świecie? Słyszeliście o jego dziełach, a może widzieliście je na własne oczy? Czy uważacie, że należy je traktować jak sztukę, a może wandalizm? Koniecznie napiszcie nam w komentarzach, bo my jak zawsze czekamy na wasze opinie. Nie zapomnijcie Zapomnijcie też o subie, łapce w górę i włączeniu powiadomień. No i słyszymy się w kolejnym odcinku. Pa!
Halo, halo, dzień dobry, witamy Państwa w Artcaście, gdzie rozmawiamy o sztuce. Wraz ze mną są tu Eilish, zwana Eilish.
Hej, hej.
Zuzanna, którą możecie znać jako kaktusiarę.
Cześć.
Radosław, znany jako Disneymania.
No, dzień dobry wszystkim.
Oraz Filip, znany jako Filip.
Pozdrawiam z rodzinką.
Jestem tu też ja, Marek Pisarzewski, dzień dobry. A dziś porozmawiamy o temacie, myślę, dość popularnym w artystycznych kręgach, a mianowicie porozmawiamy o Banksy. No to może zacznijmy od tego, kim jest Banksy i o czym w ogóle jest ten cały street art, ponieważ niektórzy nasi słuchacze mogą tego nie wiedzieć.
Znaczy, no to tak, no to street art, no to jak sama nazwa wskazuje, jest to tak zwany art na streetie, czyli że po prostu maluje się graffiti na ważnych budynkach, gdzie są widoczne, często prezentując jakąś bardziej ważną semantyczną wartość, a czasami po prostu, żeby to ładnie wyglądało. Aczkolwiek jeżeli chodzi o Banksiego, to raczej przesłanie gra tutaj pierwsze skrzypce, ale nie ukrywam, strona wizualna jest również imponująca. Wiedziałem.
No tak, to może ja trochę rozwinę. Banksy to... Też o jedno zdanie. Banksy to artysta uliczny, reżyser, performer, który znany jest głównie ze swoich murali, ale nie tylko. I te murale zwykle poruszają kwestie społeczne i polityczne. Natomiast street art odnosi się do jakiejkolwiek formy sztuki, która odbywa się na ulicy, tak najprościej mówiąc.
No.
No okej, to skoro mamy to chyba wyjaśnione, to przejdźmy już do pytań, do odcinka. Skąd dowiedzieliście się o Banksym? Gdzie natknęliście się na niego po raz pierwszy? To może zaczniemy od Zuzi.
No to ja ogólnie obejrzałam film Wyjście przez sklep z pamiątkami i jakby wcześniej gdzieś tam mi latało ten pseudonim, ale jakby po tym filmie no, dużo więcej się o nim dowiedziałam i tak naprawdę teraz, kiedy przygotowywaliśmy ten podcast, to przeczytałam o nim jeszcze więcej. No i tak.
No okej, a jak to było u Ciebie, Eilish?
Tak, miałam koleżankę, która studiowała na ASP i tak się zdarzyło, że po prostu wykonywała kiedyś prezentację właśnie dotyczącą street artu, no i oczywiście jednym z tematów, no musiał tam być po prostu Banksy, więc ja pomagając jej montować różne rzeczy do tej prezentacji, co nieco jego sztuki miałam okazję zobaczyć. Prawdę mówiąc, nie interesowałam się na tyle, by faktycznie szukać, kim jest, co to za człowiek, jakby, chociaż nie ukrywam, że sama jego twórczość zrobiła na mnie bardzo dobre wrażenie. Tak naprawdę o wiele więcej dowiedziałam się w przypadku pewnego ostatniego incydentu z aukcją, do którego pewnie zaraz przejdziemy za jakiś czas, więc wtedy trochę więcej się zainteresowałam. No, mniej więcej tak to wyglądało.
Okej, no to teraz Filip może.
Głupia historia w sumie, bo to było coś takiego, że usłyszałem o takiej stronie z fejkowymi newsami. Tam, wiesz, wsadzasz sobie nazwiska znajomych i o nich robią artykuły. I tutaj wchodzi mój na scenę kolega Disneymania, ponieważ wtedy wsadziłem jego imię i nazwisko w artykuł o Banksym właśnie, że to ponoć on nim jest. I tak w ogóle pierwszy raz usłyszałem o tej postaci. No i też usłyszałem o tej postaci pierwszy raz od strony, że jest właśnie nieznany i była ta enigma. Ale tak naprawdę nie interesowałem się nim jakoś za bardzo z początku. No, od street arter, który to jest antykapitalistyczny, jest bardzo pacyfistyczny. No w sensie, no takich już widzieliśmy. Ale jak mam być szczery, widziałem parę jego prac, a przy researchu do tego materiału widziałem no, ich większą część, to zainteresowałem się nim troszeczkę i uważam, że jest całkiem intrygujący i myślę, że ta aura tajemniczości tylko do tego dodaje.
No i jeszcze zostaną Radek.
Cóż, moja historia nie będzie jakoś super porywająca, gdyż usłyszałem w sumie o tym artyście pierwszy raz, kiedy w ogóle się tutaj zbieraliśmy i próbowaliśmy ustalić, jaki będzie tutaj pierwszy odcinek. No, słyszę jakiś Banksy, no i tak nic niewiele mi to w sumie mówi. No ale tak sobie wyszukałem tego człowieka, zobaczyłem sobie jakieś jego tam właśnie i pracę i trochę sobie o nim poczytałem. No i jakkolwiek nie jestem jakimś wielkim fanem tam takiej sztuki właśnie ulicznej, jakieś graffiti i tak dalej, tak muszę przyznać, że niektóre jego prace wyglądają naprawdę nieźle.
No ja pierwszy raz usłyszałem o nim przez przypadek, tak naprawdę, ponieważ ja na ogół nie oglądam telewizji.
watching more than anything else? Is it all still about rates?
It's all still about rates, absolutely, and it's going to be the rate of change of rates. So I'm watching inflation, I'm watching, the general economic news, more important than they've ever been. But I believe the market can ultimately withstand a 3% as long as we don't get there next week, get to 2.5% next week. I'm looking for 2% over the next month or two. I think we'll be fine. The market, news flow is commoditized versus how it used to be. So you get it quickly, you digest it, maybe the market reacts, and then they move on. That's why I've had a series of V-shaped recovery. To me, the most important thing is going to be what the economy does. I think that's well on its way. Of course, you've also got to watch the tax plan and what that does, but that's going to be an odd lot. That's going to be a knee-jerk. I think we've already seen it. That was the action early in the week. So the only thing that really worries me is, as I said, rates and hot inflation. Because the market doesn't believe Powell has the same credibility that he had. The Fed put is gone. You need to see a major move in rates to have a twist, which means for them to buy long-dated, sell short-dated treasuries. So that's what you got to watch.
All right, Anastasia, I mean, it seems the biggest question in the market right now is whether we're going to have a big correction in the market or not. So when you look at where we are, what do you see?
Yeah, I think, Scott, that has been the question sort of since the beginning of the year. We're going to have a big correction, and the answer we had a mini correction. But what I'm encouraged by is that when we look at the positioning of some of the hedge funds and some of the levered funds and CTAs, they have actually been reduced. So I think we had a clearing out and the squaring of positions in February and early March. So that's a constructive setup there. What I'm watching, like Steve, as we go into Q2, is this momentum handoff between we believe growth is going to happen in Q2. We believe reopening is going to happen in Q2. But do we believe inflation is actually going to come, and could that potentially surprise to the upside? So I think that's going to be a key conversation for the markets in Q2. We're likely going to see some core PCE prints that are going to surprise to the upside, perhaps. And then on top of that, all this fiscal stimulus, the infrastructure package talk is going to heat up in Q2. So all of a sudden, I think what the momentum conversation is going to become is not so much about the reopening trade, but the reflation trade and how to position for that.
Okay. So, Carrie, on the issue itself of where the market is and what is going to lie ahead, whether we're going to be facing a larger correction, Tom Lee argues no. Okay? And the reason he says that is because we've already had rolling corrections. And if you've paid attention to those, you've noticed that technology and growth corrected by 15% in February and March so far. Energy stocks are down 13% in the past 2 weeks. The Russell 2000 is down 10% in the past 2 weeks after big runs all the way along. So you're not going to get a larger one because, in a sense, you've already had corrections in a lot of the frothiest areas of the market. Is that how you see it?
Well, he's making a good point about corrections that have been happening really since last September, and we have definitely felt ourselves here the technology correction. What I think Tom is saying is that GDP growth is going to be strong this year. If we're talking about 6% GDP growth, what do markets do when we have that kind of an economy? And in almost all cases, 2000 being the one exception, the S&P 500 has gone up that year, particularly following a recession. So if we have strong GDP growth, we had a recession last year, chances are the market is going to go up. If it goes up, then there will be broad ranges of participants. It's very hard for the market to go up without technology, which is, 40% of the market is technology, communication services, plus Amazon. It's hard for that whole market to go up without having them participate. And if you look at this little chart that I use sometimes, Vinny put together, that shows the percent of S&P names that are ahead of the index year to date, and then since the middle of February. The middle of February, which is when recently tech names started to fall, 71% of the entire S&P has been beating the market since mid-February. That's amazing. That is a very large number. It means that the big names, the big capitalization names, have not participated, the big tech names, communications, and it's been a very broad market. And today, if you look at who's ahead, materials, number one group, then technology, and then energy. Very strange bedfellows. And it may be that we're seeing a broader range of what investors are willing right now to look at and say, we think there is potential. Tech names that are down, some of the reopening names that have not been very strong, and then we're going to let some others slide for a while or plateau, as Tom said.
All right.
Finally, the end of the pandemic is in sight, but the uncertainty about what comes next and who will benefit has thrown the market out of whack. You can be sure Ray Dalio sees through the chaos. Over nearly 5 decades, the hedge fund billionaire and investing legend has built an iconic set of principles for how to thrive in the market and in life. He made his first stock pick at age 12 and at 26 launched Bridgewater Associates. Now it's the biggest hedge fund in the world with about $150 billion in assets under management. On this episode of Influencers, Ray joins me to talk about what the COVID-19 stimulus will do to the stock market, whether the government could outlaw Bitcoin, and what worries him about a wealth tax. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Influencers. I'm Andy Serwer, and welcome to our guest, Ray Dalio, founder, co-chairman, and co-chief investment officer at Bridgewater Associates. Ray, welcome.
Good to see you, Andy.
Let's start right in and talk about the markets, Ray. There's been a tremendous amount of volatility this year. Why is that happening, and how do you expect things to pan out?
Well, it's simple. You know how the thing works. If the pulse of the economy goes down, then the policymakers, like doctors, rush to the patient and inject it with a whole lot of stimulation. And so what they did is they wrote out a bunch of checks, and they're writing out a lot of checks, which are about 7 times, 5 to 7 times the size of the hole. And they got that money out. And what that did was, of course, the government doesn't have money. They can't print money. So they have to borrow that money. But the Federal Reserve can print money. And so the same thing that is happening like on March 5th, 1933, is the same thing now in terms of that big stimulation. So the way it works is real interest rates are so bad, money's so cheap, and it's so abundant that it changes a lot of financial assets, and it causes those financial asset prices to rise. And when they rise, future expected returns go down to start to approach those of bonds and the risk-free return. And so that's what we've gone through. So you see it domestically, you see it also in the currency, in the dollar, you see it in other assets, gold, Bitcoin, and so on. So the world has got a lot of liquidity. And now we're in a spot where we're going to have the supply-demand question. The big question is the supply-demand question, because we're going to have to sell a lot of debt. And I don't know if you want me to go into that, but we're going to have to sell a lot of debt. And then the question is how that goes. Will the demand be there, or will the Fed have to monetize more? That's the dynamic.
Yeah, I do want to get into that debt question, but first of all, I want to go back to stimulus, which maybe is before that. And am I to understand then that you think there's too much stimulus coming from Washington at this point, Ray?
It depends, like you say, too much for what? Too much for the supply demand? Mm-hmm. Yes, probably. Okay, we'll get into that. Too much because like fast, a lot of people needed to get a lot of money. Okay, if you look at the needs and a lot of things like, okay, err on the side of too much. There was, we have a big wealth gap. We have a big opportunity gap. We have big gaps that are issues. We see it here. I work, my wife, particularly in the state of Connecticut, works with disengaged and disconnected students, high school students in poor neighborhoods and so on. And you see their conditions and what the budgets are. There are a lot of needs. So I'm not saying the needs are not there. I'm saying just the way the machine works, the reality of it is, you're making this big supply demand move, but that it's not like it doesn't have risks and costs associated with it. So from the market's point of view, it's a real big deal.
Yeah. So does that mean you sort of flood the zone to mitigate and obviate these sort of social problems, and sort of by definition you're going to overshoot, and then we have to deal with those consequences?
Yeah. because like debt at the end of the day, it's going to be one way or another. It's either going to be when somebody borrows or and you're using that debt, is that going to produce productivity so that in hard money terms that money can be paid back in a way where okay it paid off in a productivity increasing way, or is that not going to be paid off and somebody's always going to pay, but it's going to be the bondholder, it's going to be the cash holder who is going to pay if that doesn't come back with real productivity. And right now it was an emergency situation with COVID mixed with a political situation to disperse a lot of money. And that's what we have. But it's not ending there because that's the new policy.
So can I infer then that you're suggesting we're going to have an inflationary period ahead because of this, what you're just outlined?
There are two types of inflation. Okay. Let me just clarify. There's supply demand inflation, like if demand is pressing up against capacity to produce things, and maybe that's labor, maybe that's capacity constraints and so on and so forth, prices rise because of that. And then there's monetary inflation. And monetary inflation is because the currency and the value of money goes down. And so you can see, like in the 1970s, stagflation. You could see not inflation is not coming from the first of those types of inflation. It is coming from the second of those types of inflation. And the way that would occur is because people don't want to own bonds. To me, it's pretty crazy to want to own cash or bonds. Okay, we can get into why that is. But if you have that movement out of like that type of financial assets to other assets, which we are seeing, then that has the effect first of causing financial inflation. In other words, an investor shifts it to another investment and they go up in value. And then that wealth effect has an effect on those items that those people who acquire the money want to spend on. So maybe it's on penthouses or maybe it's on something else, but it depends how that's spent. I'm more worried about the monetary inflation, which would look something like a currency defense. It means that what happens is as money, let's say people don't like bonds, and then they start to sell bonds, and bonds then go down in value because they have a capital loss, and they don't offer anything in interest rates, negative real interest rates, and so on. They don't like that. Then the Federal Reserve or other central banks are faced with the choice of either rates rise, and that is bad for financial asset prices and it's bad for the economy, or they make the purchases. They make money and they make the purchases of that. And that then produces more of a monetary inflation. So it's the second that I'm more concerned with. But the supply demand of debt will be, I think, the big driving influence. And I want to emphasize this because so many people say, okay, well, they look at this stock or they look at this. But what you saw was the V bottom in all markets and so on. And that was due to debt and money dynamic happening. So that's the biggest dynamic to pay attention to.
So wait, that V bottom, do you mean a year ago?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could I think it was April 8th or 9th. The exact same action was taken basically almost as happened on August 15th, 1971, which was also the exact same action which was taken on March 5th, 1933. In other words, the big jolt, the separation in terms of that value of money, that dynamic. And that is the new paradigm.
And so what does that mean? So on the one hand, you're seeing this rotation in equities from growth stocks to cyclicals. Number one, is that going to continue? And then number two, the 10 years up, 100 basis points this year. Is that going to continue?
Well, what's happened is that a lot of, like these cycles go, a lot of uh, a lot of new ideas, new technologies, new things come along, and they make fabulous revolutions, and they grow things, and that's great. But there's a tendency of investors to extrapolate the past and get and not pay too much attention to price. And when that happens, you start to emerge as somewhat of a bubble. By our measures, the bubble is not as what it was in 2000 and not what it was in 1929, but it's kind of like halfway there if I look at the types of qualities. In other words, and so what that means from a value point of view, if you're calculating, what can I realistically expect? Its expected returns shrink relative to the others. However, the kind of the meat and potatoes type of companies didn't benefit as much from those, and they're fairly stable and so on. And so that's why you're starting to see that kind of rotation. Now that can change. It can come and go in these phases, like when people get stimulus checks, and then they might be hot on the exciting things, and they run up again, and so on. But that's going on, and of course there's Bitcoin and other things that are going on. However, the big thing is plenty of liquidity and ridiculously low interest rates. Now, you ask about the 1.6%. I think we have been in a 40-year bull market in bonds. So now you look at that 1.6%. That's a negative 1% about real. Okay, so you're guaranteed. And you ask yourself, if you're going to hold a bond, any investment, the only purpose of an investment is so you can sell it to buy something you want. And so when you look at what is the length of time it's going to take me to get my money back, if I give an investment nowadays in the United States, I'm going to have to wait about 50 years to give back the buying power to start, and then I'll start earning money. If I'm in other countries, some Europe and Japan, I will have less. And if I measured in all those countries in real terms, I'm going to have less money. So basically what that means if I just bought anything that didn't depreciate in real terms, if it just matched inflation, I'd be better off than to have those things. And so now, I don't think those rates will only stay down there, I think, if the Federal Reserve does what it did like in the 1930s in the war period, which is to put a cap on rates, to make short-term interest rates low in relationship to the cap. Like back in the 30s and the war years, they made 1% was the short-term interest rate and 2.5% was the bond yield. So it was profitable to buy those bonds, funding it with 1%, and you got 2.5%, that could put a lid on it. But because those two assets, cash and bonds, were such bad investments relative to other things, there was the movement to those other things still, and then the government outlawed them. I mean, things like gold. They outlawed gold. That's why also outlawing Bitcoin is, a good probability, and that they also established foreign exchange controls because they don't want the money to go elsewhere.
Let me jump in, Reg, because that comment you made about Bitcoin. I mean, so it's a two-part question. Is that in a bubble? Maybe three-part question. Is it dangerous? And what do you think the likelihood of the government outlawing it is? And is that even feasible?
Bitcoin has proven itself over the last 10 years. It proved it hasn't been hacked. It's by and large, therefore, worked on an operational basis. It has built a significant following. It is an alternative, in a sense, storehold of wealth. It's like a digital cash. And those are the pluses. Bubbles are financial assets that have imputed value. It's an asset that doesn't have intrinsic value. It has imputed value. It's whatever we think it is. And if you look at some of the bubbles in the past, a great book is Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of the Crowds by McKay, 1845 or something. But he talks about the South Sea bubble, and he talks about the Mississippi bubble and so on. It is when people love it. It's the dot-com bubble and so on. And that could be. So when you look at Bitcoin, it's a possibility. It's an alternative because there aren't many such assets. There are not so many assets that might have intrinsic value that can't be messed around. As far as the government allowing it, the history was, banks always used to exist. And then with the Bank of England, they decided that it was in their interest to have a monopoly on banking at a country. And so what we did is every country treasures its monopoly on controlling the supply and demand. They don't want other monies to be operating or competing because things can get out of control. So I think that it would be very likely that you will have it under a certain set of circumstances outlawed the way gold was outlawed. And you're watching that question arise in India today. India today is making the move to outlaw possession of it. Okay, so we have to see what that means. Now, can they do it? Now we get into the particulars. My understanding from people who are sort of in government surveillance and go on is, yes, they can understand, they can track it, they can know who's dealing with it. I don't know, like I'm not an expert on that. But there's a whole way, is it private wallets? Is it not private wallets? How do you do this, and the other thing? I would suspect it would be very hard to hold up against that kind of action. So that's what it looks like to me.
Right. What do you make of, how do you assess so far the Biden administration, the president, and in particular, Janet Yellen?
Well, I'd say politically, it's a reality that there are two political parties. In both cases, that there are rather extreme elements to that. We can call it capitalist and socialist, or we can call it whatever we want to call it, but there's a range. And there is not much in the middle. It's difficult to be in the middle because they have to align with either of those. So in terms of, let's say, economic policies, generally speaking, there's not much, it's tough to fight with both your Democrats and the Republicans. And what does that mean? Things like the wealth tax might be a litmus test. But in any case, I think that there is a big movement to deal with those gaps I'm referring to. So we should expect significant increases in taxes and so on in various ways. We can get into our discussion about that if you want. And depending on whether that's done smartly or not, will affect the markets. For example, when we cut corporate taxes, that benefited stock prices. Depending on how the tax rates are changed and so on, that will certainly affect asset prices and capital flows.
Let me ask you about the wealth tax. Tell us what your idea of a correct wealth tax would be.
I'm a mechanic. I'm not an ideologue. I'm basically somebody who basically thinks if you move the lever this way, what will happen? That's basically it. Yeah. What I did was do a study of all the cases of wealth taxes in different countries that have existed, and look what happened at those. And I passed that along. I didn't comment on that, but there are facts, which is like I looked at 33 cases, and in none of those cases did they have, were they sustained and raising a significant amount of money. In some cases, like Switzerland has a wealth tax, it's a very small tax, and it was sustained. Norway has a tax, and it was small and it's sustained. Those that are big haven't lasted because of a variety of reasons. They're operationally difficult and so on, illiquid assets. I won't get into all that. But there are different types of ways of taxing wealth. And so you'll see, I think you'll see the easier ways to tax wealth become more popular, such as stepped up basis. In other words, nowadays, when you die, you get if your assets appreciated, you don't have to pay the capital gains tax on that and the inheritance tax. I think that's probably in jeopardy. And I think that you'll find different other types, property taxes, other things, they may come about. But that's my thought on the wealth taxes in general. They also have the big risk is this an environment that's hospitable for capitalism and capitalists? That affects capital flows a lot. And it's not just affecting American capital flows. Americans think it's just Americans. No. Foreigners own way more bonds, American bonds, than Americans own. So just the whole notion of where to go, where it's safe market for capitalism and capitalists has an effect on capital flows. So those are the mechanics.
Speaking of foreign investors, Ray, what is your take on our relationship with China right now, and how do you perceive it moving forward?
Well, every empire rises and declines. For those who are interested, I studied this. I needed to study for reserve currency, so I studied this going back 500 years, and it's on LinkedIn. It's called The Changing World Order. You can see the patterns, and you can see what's happening. China has gone from, I started going there 36 years ago. They were dirt poor. I would bring a calculator and give it to gifts like CEOs, and they thought they were miracle devices. Now they are, in many ways, in AI and quantum computing and so on, at a comparable type of level. So China, by all measures of its power and prosperity, is a very, very strong competitor. So now you have the leading empire. 1945, we created the American world order because we won World War II. And so we had a new monetary system and so on. And now we're having a challenge of that, partially because of Chinese, but partially also how we're handling ourselves. I mean, we're not doing great in handling ourselves in a lot of the most basic ways. So yes, we have that conflict. In China's, I would say it's I've had a lot of contact there over decades, and I really believe it's an evolutionary process. There are certain things from the Chinese perspective. They would believe if you can't suppress or compress me, that would be their view, that the United States is trying to do that. I suspect there will be tensions. And the question is whether, one side becomes too confrontational to let evolution take its course. But it's true that evolution is more on China's side than our side, although it really depends whether we can get our basics right. And our basics are things like broad-based public education, the quality of education, civility of the people. Do people work together in a civilized way, or are they at each other's throats? And, innovation and, those things. So China is a very exciting place. If you spend time there and you see what's going on with entrepreneurship, the creation of new businesses, new investment in things, and there's an energy, and it's it's quite something.
Let me ask you a couple questions about Bridgewater and about you, Ray. First of all, Bridgewater, it was a bit of a choppy year last year for the firm. How are things shaping up this year? How's David McCormick treating you?
Oh, David's a star. So yeah, you're referring to this transition, which is, I think, the most beautiful thing. It's it's not easy to start off and make a founder-owned company, let's say, founder company, to then be able to transition and to be sort of a mentor and CIO, but and to let the talent rise. And I'm very, very, very lucky to have Dave McCormick in that role. And we have a team. The investors, the Bob Prince has been with me. I think it's been 34 years, something like that. Greg Jensen's been with me for 26, 20, I don't know, a lot of, decades. We will fight like hell, but we're together and so on. And so I'm at 71. And the most beautiful thing for me is to complete that arc. And, that's what we're doing. We're doing it together. So it's doing great, and we're learning. But you're right. The second quarter, the pandemic caught us. We, in prior years, we never had, I don't know how many years we had no losses. And again, there's an alpha fund and a beta fund. But anyway, and in the first half, but for the most part, that all rebounded, and we learned a lot. So I think it's good. I think it's good on all of those fronts.
What about some of the thinking that you're now famous for, Ray? Meditation, radical transparency, your principles. Have any of those changed in recent history, maybe because of the pandemic, changes in society? What is your latest thinking when it comes to some of those facets?
Well, I just want to, the things you mentioned hasn't changed at all. And I really want to pass that along. At my stage in my life, the main thing I'm doing is want to pass things along that have been valuable to me. I mean, that's why I'm doing the interview. And so meditation, wow, that has, I started that about 50 years ago, and that has given me the equanimity when things come at me to deal with those well. It also gives creativity, because one goes into one's subconscious, and that's where the creativity comes from. It's like if you take a hot shower, the great ideas come to you, and it's not because you muscle it. So that's been valuable. And this, the Bridgewater, the culture has been and is an idea meritocracy. In other words, let the best ideas win out. In which the goals are meaningful work and meaningful relationships. So you're excellent at the work. And then also, if you have the relationships, that reinforces the work, and it reinforces, and the mission with people you like and you care about, that's powerful. And through radical truthfulness and radical transparency. Radical truthfulness means, like, we're going to be totally honest with each other. It may be brutally honest, but misinformation, because you've got this scenario going on in your head, but you don't really know what the other person's thinking, is dysfunctional. And it also means that you don't build trust. If you're in a political organization and that guy's acting really nice guy, high five, and so on, but it's not going on the same behind the scenes, that undermines trust. So those have been the things. The thing that I learned the best, and I learned from failure. I learned from my failure. 1982, I expected a big debt crisis that was going to cause problems. That was the bottom in the stock market. I couldn't have been more wrong. And that gave me the humility to realize that what I think in my head or what any one individual thinks in their head might be wrong. And the markets help you understand that. And so the idea of having others stress test each other with that radical truthfulness and that strategical transparency raises the ability. So I'd say whatever Bridgewater's success has been, it's been because of that way of operating.
It's a good segue to my final question to you, Ray, and that has to do with your legacy. Would you want to be known as a thought leader or as an investor, or maybe it's both?
I don't care what I'm known as. I don't think anybody will actually remember be anybody, because think about like how many people do you remember from a generation ago? Think about the rock stars, the movie stars, the other famous people. They all disappear. We all disappear. The legacy, the way I view legacy, is what is the gift that you're passing along? And the things that I want to pass along in that are these kind of principles, like how does the machine work? How does reality work? And how does one interact with reality to get what one wants? Those are what I mean by principles. And they don't have to be my principles. We're all on a discovery to try to find out what is reality, how does it work, and how do we interact with it well. And that's what those are the things. So I wrote one book, Principles. I wrote another book, which is Principles for Understanding Big Debt Crises. I'm writing the other ones, which has to do with the changing world order, those principles. And I'm writing these actually like for my grandkids. I mean, as well as everybody else. I've got them in mind, like when I'm not around, it can almost deal with anything. When you're thinking about your job or whatever, here's some of the things that might be of helpful. But most importantly, you should have your own principles and think about them well. So I pass along those principles, like pain plus reflection equals progress, and so on. Don't get caught up in your own head. Have radical truthfulness and radical transparency. Those are the most important things. Your approach to life, one's approach to life is the most important thing. And when you start to understand that each person has their nature, what do you know your nature? And then once you know your nature and you're on a journey to find your click, find the fit, that is the thing that allows your nature to flourish and deal with other people when they know their nature. Those are the most important principles, I think. That's what I'm trying to pass along. If it lives on me without ever me being referred to, that'd be great.
Okay, Ray Dalio, founder, co-chairman, and co-chief investment officer at Bridgewater Associates. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andy. What we've seen this go around is the need to distribute, to produce a lot of debt.
240 million. Alex, come back in New York if you'd like it. 260 would be next. Have several telephone bidders waiting here. Do jump in. It's the buying bid is in Hong Kong right now for the Basquiat. The 1982 painting hovering at $240 million in Hong Kong at 240. 240 million with Evelyn's bidder at 240 million. 240 is the bid and selling currently at 240 million. Jackie, are you coming in? Not yours. Against you, Alex. Sumiko, anything there at $240 million? Selling then currently to Evelyn's bidder in Hong Kong at 240 million. Catherine, I hear you there. Are you coming in? 240, not yours. At 240 million then. At $240 million. And selling to the Hong Kong bidder at $240 million. Last chance. Hovering here, Catherine. Alex, are you definitely out? 240 it is then.
260 million.
Of course, Jackie. Great to hear your voice. It's Hong Kong versus Hong Kong. Jackie Ho comes in against you, Evelyn, there. Just next to you, side by side in our Hong Kong sale room. Thank you for joining us so late in the evening. So it's at 260 with Jackie Ho. Jackie has it currently. Still with our Hong Kong bidders. The Basquiat selling then to our Asian bidder at 260 million Hong Kong. Looking at you, Catherine. Do you want to come in? At 260 million. Nick, are you coming in?
Sir, will you take 265 from New York?
Of course. We want to encourage New York to bid tonight. At 265 is yours then, Alex. Good morning to you in New York. 265 million, not yours, Jackie, I'm afraid. 270 will be next. 265 with Alex Rotter in Rockefeller Center. There we have it at $265 million. Steady pace at 265 million Hong Kong. Jackie, would you like 270? Alex has it. Not yours, Evelyn. Catherine, come in if you like it. 3 bidders here. Only one can have it. Currently, it's Alex at 265 million Hong Kong. The 1982 Basquiat. Hong Kong, are you coming back in? I have to hurry you, Jackie. Give me one more.
$270, please.
There it is, at 270 million. Alex, give me 280. 270 against you currently. Still with the Asian bidders at 270 against you in New York. And Catherine, come in with a London bid. Catherine, give me a signal. It's not yours. At 270, against you in London, against you in New York. Jackie has it at 270.
Please hold for 1 second.
Thank you. You heard on Chris Live, a pause from Alex in your cell room. Hong Kong went patiently, yet a bit. I'm here in at
275, please, sir.
In time at 200.
Thank you.
That's 275 million Hong Kong with Alex Rotter. Now's chance. We like 280.
280 million, please.
Resonating across the airways from Hong Kong. You all heard it. 280 million. Ali coming in. Sure. Becky. And Alex. Connor, would you like in? Not this one. Alex, your chance. Against you now. Selling to Jack. Fair warning. The gavel's up. All done. New York. 280 million Hong Kong dollars. Thank you, Alex. 8804. Thank you very much, Jackie. Thank you, Evelyn. And of course, thank you, Alex. So, moving on from that mighty opening lot, there's so much more outstanding work to follow, gentlemen. Today, of course, we mark National Day of Reflection here in the UK, 1 year since we went into lockdown, and we remember those who we've lost in what's been a very difficult year across the globe during the COVID pandemic. And we're honored today, ladies and gentlemen, to be offering a very special work by Banksy, thank you to him, which he created as a universal tribute to healthcare. Workers, and the proceeds for that object, which will be sold slightly later today, will be used to support the well-being of the University Hospital Southampton staff and its patients. A very important lot coming up shortly in the London section of this sale. We also offer many significant works. Turner, Basquiat, a great self-portrait from the last year of his life, and then, of course, the two muses of Picasso, Marie-Thérèse Walter and Jacqueline Roch, which will be sold later in the sale. Sale also continues a fascinating group of works by the most talented female artists of today, including Joy Labinjo, whose works are based on family photographs, and the artist and musician Izzy Wood, known for her paintings on velvet, and we have a wonderful example in sale today. Lynette Yadenbaki as well, currently the subject of a major exhibition at the Tate Britain here in London, and the French-born artist Claire Tabouret, celebrated by her dreamlike figurative compositions. We have a beautiful example in the sale. So a very interesting group of works by female artists. I pass over to Nick again, just to read for us the London notices for the UK section of the sale. Nick, can I pass over to you?
So the notices for the 20th century sale, starting with lot 6. The artist wishes to thank the British Red Cross for authorising the use of the Red Cross emblem in this work. The Red Cross symbol is restricted by law in order to preserve its protective function during armed conflicts. The law is designed to limit attempts to associate the symbol with more general healthcare matters or other commercial uses unrelated to the Geneva Conventions Act, and to make it very clear that when the symbol appears by itself, one can trust that it means, don't shoot, I'm not in the fight. In addition to those lots marked in the catalogue with the relevant symbols, each of lots 22, 29, 35, 37, and 51 has a guarantee fully or partially financed by a third party who may be bidding on the lot and may receive a financing fee from Christie's. Please see the conditions of sale for further information. And an additional notice, the estimate for lot 51 is revised to 450 to 650,000. Back to you, Yussi.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick. And I just have to say to everybody that's bidding this evening, there's a huge amount of interest in today's sale globally, whether you're in Hong Kong, in New York, or here in London. Do jump in. I've got 5, 6, 7 bidders on many, many items in tonight's sale. So just jump in when you're ready, and we'll get started. So here we have the Joy Labinjo, No Wahala of 2019, and I can start the bidding here on lot number 2 in sterling, of course. We're back to pound sterling at 22, 24, 26, 28. 30 with Olivier, 30, 32, Christian, 35 is here, 35, at 35, 38,000, 40,000, 40,000, 40,000 to Olivier, 42 I have, 45 I have here, at 45,000 to Olivier. Jump in, 48,000. Against you in Thailand at 48, 50. Against you here, it's with Olivier at 50. 55, I think that's Sarah. Is that Sarah there at 55 in New York? 60. Emily, hi Emily, at 60. 60 I have already.
Bid.
Emily, 65. Emily has it at 65. 70. 75 to Emily in New York. Against you in London. 75 with New York. Against you in Thailand. Come in Thailand. 75 million to New York at the moment. 80,000. At 80,000 is here. 85,000. I have it already, Emily, with Christian, I'm afraid. Would you like 90? 90 I have with Andre. I'm sorry, Emily.
95.
It's running. 95 back to Emily. Emily has it in the States at 95,000. 100,000 with Andre, Emily. Back to London. Emily's out in New York. Thank you for your bids, Emily. 110 is bid. Here in London at 110. Somebody like Asia like to jump in. Who'll give me 120? 110 it is on the right at 110,000. Who'll give me 120? Pausing at 110, looking to the room at 110. 120 is bid with Andre. And you're out. Andre has it then at 120,000. The Labinjo, lot number 2, is at 120,000 pounds. Here in London, thank you for your bidding. In Thailand and in New York at 120. Andre has it. All done, last chance, fair warning, and selling at 120,000. 812 is the number at 120. Now then, lot number 3 is the Izzy Wood, Over Armour. Let me just check that, thank you so much. Over Armour, non-linear, non-violent, 2019. Huge monumental picture. And bear in mind, of course, this work is oil on velvet, as it should be, and we start here at 60, 70, 80, 90. I have 100. I have 100,000. And selling at 100,000 to the commission.
Bidding in New York.
Thank you. 110. Joanna, 110. Joanna comes in. Thank you, Joanna. 110 to you. I'm out now. The commission has been beaten.
120, sir.
120, Keith Gill. 120 with Keith. Joanna, you out? 120 is then with Keith Gill. Keith has it at 120.
130, please.
130. Who's that? Emily back in at 130,000. 130,000 pounds. 140 against you, Emily, with Keith. Here in London. Emily, would you like 150? 140 I have.
40 against us. Let's see if anyone jumps in.
140,000.
150.
Thank you, Emily. 150 to New York.
160, sir.
160 against you at Rock Centre.
$170, please.
You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. 170 back to Emily in New York. Give me 180, Keith.
180, sir.
There it is. £180,000. Back to Keith Gill. Emily, would you like 190? Pausing
190,
here.
please.
There it is. No hesitation. 190 with Emily. At £190,000.
200, sir.
200 for the Izzy Wood now. 200. 220 will be next, please. Who'll give me 220? Edmond, are you coming in? 200, not yours. 220 is next. 200,000 is here with Keith. Keith has it at 200,000, not yours, Emily. Give me 220, could be yours. 200,000. Pausing here in London, against you at Rock Centre, at 200,000. The gavel's up at 200,000. Give me a signal, Emily. Are you in or out?
Okay.
And you're out. Thank you so much. At 200,000, then Keith has it, I think. Anybody else coming in now? At 200,000. Last chance, Emily. Still not sold. Gavel's up.
That's
833. 833 is the number. Thank you so much, Keith. So we move swiftly on to the Adam Boachi, the wonderful Like Above All Lovers monumental picture, and we start the bidding here at 300,000, 320, 340 already at 340,000. 340,000. Claudia, you coming in?
360, please.
360 is yours. Claudia has it at £360,000.
In New York, it's Sarah.
There's Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Where are you? Give me a wave. There she is. Perfect. At 380,000 with Sarah Friedlander in the front row next to Connor there at 380,000. You have it, Sarah, at the moment, 380. Would you like to come back in? 400 will be next. 380 with the New York bidder. Sarah Friedlander has it at 380. It's selling.
400, please.
Not yours, Christian. Come back in.
400.
400 is bid. We have 400 in London.
410, please, UC.
I'll take it, Sarah. Fair. For 410 to Sarah Friedlander. 420 would be next. Who'd like to come in at 420? 410 I have. Sarah has it at Rockefeller Center, the American bidder, at 410. Shake of the head here from Claudia. I think you have it at 410. All done. Dick, last chance. Sarah, you have it at 410. And your number is 1417. Well done. And so we move to the Claire Tabouret, the last day. Super picture, here it is, monumental, showing at the very back of the sale room here in London on the right. And I have a huge amount of interest here. I have several commission bids and many telephones. So I start at, brace yourselves, everybody, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190. I have 200 here at 200, at 200,000, looking for 220, 220, 250. I have 250 here at 250,000. Give me 280. 250 I have at 250,000. 280 I have. 300 I have. At 300,000 is mine. At 300,000 and selling to my bidder at 320, 350 I have. At 350 with me. At 350,000. Where is that? Ah, very good. Welcome in Asia. 380 in Taiwan. 400,000 with me. Against you in Hong Kong. Against you in Taiwan at 400,000. 420 in Taiwan. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. 450 is here in London. At 450 against you in Hong Kong, Taiwan, New York, and elsewhere. 450 is my bid at £450,000.
Please.
480. Thank you. Tessa Lord takes it at 480. I'm out now. 480,000 with Tessa Lord's bidder. Grace, do you want 500? 480 I have. At 480,000. Grace, we hear you, but just tell me if you're still in. 480 I have with Tessa in the sale room in London. £480,000 for the Tabouret. And selling. 480 is here. Catherine, you coming back in. Christian, now's your chance at 480. £480,000 is the bid. 480,000. Looking to you, Nick. 480, not yours. At 480,000. At 480. At 480,000. Against you in Hong Kong. Just pausing. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for Hong Kong to reconnect at 480. Grace.
Sorry, there's a technical issue.
That's okay, we'll wait for you. At 480. Technical issue with the mobile phone, not with the Christie's link, I might hasten to add. At 480.
不好意思，那个刚才电话断了，现在是48万，对，现在已经48万，对英镑，要考虑吗？还是？
And you're out. There's a shake of the hand. I didn't understand the Mandarin there, but I do understand the shake of the hand. Thank you so much. At 480 then. So Tessa has it, and you're out in Hong Kong. Just to be clear, you're out in Hong Kong. Here it is, Tessa, 878. Suddenly 500 comes from nowhere. Andres Lassinger, like a wizard, hooks one from out of his velvet hat. At 500,000, yours it is then, Andre, at the moment, but I'm just going to pause for Tessa. 520 could take it. You sure you're out? I did pause for a long time against you, so I've got 500 from Andre, and you're out in Asia, no more in New York. 500,000 is the number. Tessa. Andre, well done. Andre, do you have a number? Just coming, no problem. Let us have it in a moment, would you? Nick will take a note. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to lot 6, the superb Banksy. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the Banksy, the game changer, lot number 6 in the sale here. A highly important picture for so many different reasons. Most importantly, proceeds will be used to support the well-being of the University Hospital Southampton staff and patients. And thank you so much for all of the medical staff around the world for the work that they've been doing over now so many months, it seems. Looking after us during this pandemic. And thank you, obviously, very specifically to Banksy for this incredible gesture. Here it is, showing on my left-hand side, game changer, lot number 6 in today's sale. A historic moment. Here we have it. I have many, many phone bids. Thank you to all of the people supporting the sale on the telephones. And I leave it to you to decide what this picture will bring. But I have to open it, ladies and gentlemen, at 1,600,000, 1,800,000, at 2 million for the Banksy. At 2 million, at 2,200,000 now. 2,200,000 at 2,200,000 against you there in the Virgin Islands. At 2,500,000 here in the sale room. Not yours in the Virgin Islands. 2,500,000 I have. 2,800,000 would be next. 2,500,000 for the Banksy game changer. 2,500,000 in the London sale room. At 2,500,000. Looking for 2,800,000. Selling at the moment at 2,500,000. At 2,500,000. 2,500,000. At 2,500,000. Ali, are you coming in? 2,500,000. Pausing.
2,800,000, please.
2,800,000 in the Virgin Islands. Thank you for joining us at 2,800,000. I can't take 2,600,000. 3 million is offered now. I still can't take 2,600,000, but I can take 3,200,000. 3 million on my left at £3 million for Claudia. Claudia's bidder at 3 million on my left for the Banksy. Who'll give me 3,200,000? Come back in the BVI at 3 million. At 3 million is the bid currently. £3 million for the Banksy game changer at 3 million and holding here.
Please.
3,200,000. I'm afraid, in the Virgin Islands against you. 3,500,000 in London against you. 3.8 could take it. It's with Claudia, once again, here in the showroom at 3,500,000 for the Banksy. At 3,500,000, 3,800,000 in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much. 3,800,000 on Christie's Live. At 3,800,000 pounds for the Banksy. 3,800,000. 4 million I have here ahead of the 3.9. At 4 million I have. I can't take 3.9 because I have 4 here. At 4 million with Alessandro. 4 million pounds. 4,200,000 with Claudia at 4,200,000, still in London at 4,200,000 is the bid, and selling the Banksy at 4,200,000. At 4,300,000 I'll take in the Virgin Islands at 4,300,000. At 4,300,000. 4,400,000 straight back here at 4,400,000. The Banksy now at 4,500,000 running on. At 4,500,000. 4,600,000 here at Christie's in London against you in Singapore. Singapore just stepping in. 4,700,000 back to the Virgin Islands at 4,700,000. Come back to me in Singapore. 4,700,000 is against you. 4,800,000 back to Christie's in London at 4,800,000 here at Christie's. At 4,800,000, 4,900,000 on Christie's Live. At 4,900,000 for the Banksy. £5 million, ladies and gentlemen, is the bid. At 5 million. Who will offer me 5 million too? 5 million I have. 5 million one I take already. Against you, I'm afraid. At 5 million one. 5,100,000 in the Virgin Islands. 5 million one, you have it in the Virgin Islands at 5 million one. I've accepted your bid. 5,200,000 new place. I have 5.2. I can't take it in 2 places. 5.2 I have here. The Banksy is at 5,200,000. Not yours, Claudia. And not yours on Christie's Live. 5,200,000 is here in the sale room in London. 5,300,000 back to Christie's Live. At 5,300,000 for the Banksy. 5,300,000 is the bid. Fabulous. At 5,300,000. The money is going to charity to the NHS at 5,300,000, 5,500,000, a jump bid at 5,500,000. Thank you for that generous step bid at 5,500,000. Give me 5,800,000. 5,600,000 back to the BVI at 5,600,000. At 5,600,000. At 5,600,000. Who will give me 5,800,000? One of you. 5,600,000 I have on Christie's Live. Give me 5,800,000. What would you like? You tell me. At 5,600,000, at 5,600,000, 5,800,000 I have. Who will give me 6 million? At 5,800,000, 5,900,000. At 5,900,000 on Christie's Live. Against us here in the Christie's sale room at King Street, but on Christie's Live. At 5,900,000 for the Banksy. 5,900,000 and pausing. 6 million. New place with Tessa Lord, the head of sale. At 6 million. 6 million is the bid. At 6,100,000. 6,200,000. 6,300,000. 6,300,000. Would somebody give me 6,500,000? At 6,400,000. 6,400,000 for the Banksy here at King Street at 6,400,000 against you on Christie's Live. 6,500,000 on Christie's Live. 6,500,000 pounds against both of you here. 6,600,000 is offered. Tessa has it at 6,600,000. 6,700,000. 6,800,000. 6,900,000. 7 million is offered. 7,100,000. 7,200,000. 7,300,000. 7,400,000. 7,500,000. 7,600,000. 7,700,000. 7,800,000. 7,900,000. 8 million, ladies and gentlemen, at £8 million, 8,100,000, we're still going. At 8,100,000, thank you on Christie's Live. 8,100,000 is the bid.